Ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit different from the normal Rostermania reactions you're used to seeing. We're rebranding the show. Why is that? Well, guess what? Rostermania is not always happening. So we're calling this the Maven and Jack Show, the Jack and Maven Show.
Because no one calls me Clint.
Just no one calls him Clint. We've already had, what, one tweet about it yesterday? And you said, who's Clint? And that's a pretty good way to put it. But either way, this is still going to be your hub for Call of Duty news on this channel. We want to try to bang a ton of these out, especially with the season kicking off. We have a ton of stuff we want to cover. The 2Ks and where they currently stand. Maybe do a power ranking show. Break down each pool when it gets announced for Dallas. I'll also do an open bracket preview when that comes into play. Talk about, you know, new rule sets that come out, new balance updates, what teams are impressing, what teams are failing to improve, and then go into greater Call of Duty topics, as in, you know, is Optic the best team of all time? Just a hypothetical thing. I would say yes. I said that in my podcast at the end of Champs last year. Things like that. Just bigger questions that maybe you guys have for us. But either way, today we're covering the November, what, 26th?
6th and 7th, I guess, technically.
Yeah, 2K series. We're mainly going to focus on NA. APAC, we already know. Mindfreak just won their 3rd in a row. I mean, there's not really much to cover there. And then EU is kind of the Splice and Red Reserve show.
Yeah. We're mostly going to touch on North America's once this video goes live. Yeah, APAC will be done. Yep. EU will already be kind of deep into their tournament, so it'll mostly be talking North America. But I think the main thing to stress to people, this is going to be, yes, for a lot of the deep diving fans that are on Reddit, but even more importantly, especially early, these videos I think will help newcomers a lot too. Just those that haven't been following all pro points throughout the race of this. So yeah. I think the first thing to stress is this will be the first 2K that is, well, at least planned beforehand to be today and tomorrow. Today, the big rounds will be round of 16 and round of 32. Tomorrow, the top 8 will be played out. But I think the thing we want to stress the most is how insane this is truly going to be. Like, as we're looking through the pro points, they are so close, and especially around the bubble.
One thing we have to stress too, these are unofficial pro points. These are not by any means the official behind the scenes stuff. We're looking at the same thing that kind of the public is speculating on. That's what we've done with a lot of this stuff, even down to the Rostermania reactions. We're kind of learning with you guys and experiencing with you guys. So we're just getting our thoughts and what we expect. Now, are they probably pretty close to up to date? Yes. I mean, there's an updated time around this.
And to your point, that's the reason we won't discuss specific matchups too much in the 2K, just because some of these teams are separated by like 30 points. So depending on how up to date these are, if someone plays some GVs this morning and suddenly their team leapfrogs them, it changes the matchup entirely. So this will be more just talking about who's pretty much locked in, who the bubble teams are, and I think for us, just maybe predictions a bit on who we think's going to take it. So I think first and foremost, let's sort of go through the top 10 right now. I want to talk about the teams that are there, maybe who we think the biggest surprises are, but first, Optic Gaming. We know they won the first 2 2Ks. They've got the biggest spread amongst other teams that have ever won. They're like 5,000 or more pro points. They've had the 2nd place team. Right now, they're in cruise control. How they perform today doesn't really matter.
No, they're absolutely in a good spot. Yeah. We've seen Scum talk about this on Twitter. They're feeling, you know, not nervous at all. They know they're in a great spot for pools for Dallas. No surprise there. The question is, can they make it a 3-peat? I think so. I think they're making a 3-peat.
And just to give you an idea how far ahead they are, yes, the separation in pro points over the course of the year becomes bigger and bigger as there's more and more available. Absolutely. Right now, they have like 17,680. If you're looking at the bubble teams, they're floating around 6,000. So they're crushing everyone, and that's just been, you know, you're getting what, 2,000 per player.
You could literally get dead last in today's 2K, and one of these teams could win and still not surpass them. Yeah,
I mean, could some of the close teams pass them? Yes, absolutely. Especially next up, I think we talk about LG, who's now been, what, 2nd in both the 2Ks. I think we like this team on paper going into this, but they've been really solid. I was excited to see Cap back on boots. You know, everyone calls him the greatest jetpacker of all time, but he's been solid. The teams look very good.
I mean, it's just still 4 of the better players in the game. No surprise to see their success. Octane said last week after they lost to Optic again, while it wasn't, you know, a Game 5 series or whatever, they saw major improvements. He's happy to see where this team is building. We knew coming out of the gate Optic was going to be the favorite team. It's LG who are right now trying to catch up to them, be right on their coattails. I don't think they're there quite yet, but they're still absolutely in the running. Could they surprise us this week and take a win? Yes. The big team that's surprising, I think, everybody right now is in the 3rd spot. Team Caliber, which TK, obviously, great fan base, very dedicated in regards to their YouTubers and streaming team as well, all getting behind the boys. They had some of their YouTubers casting it live from the Theory stream last week. This is a team that I mean, talk about coming out of nowhere and breaking into the top 4. Ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this would be their first time in pool play in what feels like a decade. Like
someone said it was from early 2016.
Yeah, so it's crazy to think about because they just haven't been. I mean, relevant. Yes, they've been relevant because they're fan base, but actually competitively relevant. No, it's been really quite some time. You know, I actually asked Karma after I think the last 2K who he thought the best team was, if he thought it was LG or who else it might be, and he said he thinks TK is right up there just because they played them tough in the respawns, but he thinks they're ahead of a lot of teams in Search and Destroy. And where I think that's interesting, where I think Team Caliber could excel, you know, I don't always agree with the whole S&D, you know, wins championships. I think Hardpoint typically is much more important. It's the first game, you get 2 of them still. But for this first tournament, I wholeheartedly agree that S&D will win the tournament, just because the teams haven't put much time in with it. But anyway, TK, that's apparently where they've been excelling. That's where they've been very, very strong, according to Optic, who's now won them both. Next up, team that had a big rebound. They got, what was it, top 32 or top 16 at Hammer the first first time
they
through,
just didn't do well.
The first one. Then they bounced back with the top 4. I think they were knocked out 3-0 by Optic in the round of 4 is Envy, who we've had very high hopes for. So I'm excited to see them now sitting in the 4th spot, but they are, I guess you could say, significantly behind kind of the top 3 teams in pro points, but still looking good.
This is really where the jump and in regards to the, even in the 4th spot, is a catchable position.
So that's why
week like this.
Just to give you guys an idea kind of behind the numbers there. So if you haven't looked at it, you know, we talked about the fact that Optic has, you know, over 17,000 pro points. Envy's a little over 9,000. Sorry, a little under 8,000. So it was 7,700. So if you actually go all the way to what, the 24th spot, you're getting down to 4,000-ish. So there's only less 3 to 4,000 pro point difference, which could be made up with a strong finish easily in this 2K. So that's what we're talking about, how insane this is going to be, because yeah, outside of those top 3 teams, I mean, no one's really that. This
is probably close to 30 teams in the running for 6 spots. And again, while we talk about this is because it's 10 pool play spots in North America for the CWL Dallas Open from North America, 5 from EU, 1 from APAC. We know that's going to go to Mindfreak. EU are really our strengths there, are Red Reserve and Splice going to get those spots most likely, and then 3 other teams that finish well this week. And then NA, I mean, you could, yes, you have, you know, Optic, LG, TK, everyone else, you literally just flip a coin and we'll see who's going to be in. It comes down to this week's 2K.
The next 2 teams then in the top 10, we'll start going through them a little bit more quickly, but I think these 2 go together in my head a little bit because they're kind of the 2 teams that took a chance on younger players, S&D players, and that's when you talk about Enigma 6 and Parasite and Company with an organization coming at some point. We're expecting.
I mean, you look at E6, Bevels, Bevels, Decimate, Dashy. Midway through last year made the transition.
But if you didn't watch much of last year, you have no idea who Dashy is.
Exactly. Blastful Pharaoh. I mean, you could say those are 5 of the best search and destroy players of the last, you know, few years and even longer. So now to see them both, you know, on top 8 teams, it looks like their transition's going pretty darn well, and it's no surprise to see them doing well when they've got leaders like, well, Parasite, Study, General, leading these guys. They know what the work ethic is, they know what they have to put into the game, and when you add their S&D prowess, as you said at the start of games, this is when having strong S&D players in your team can pay off the most to get that early pro point advantage, and it's showing right here.
The next up, Ghost Gaming, which I think we all firmly expected. They were a top 8-ish team last year.
This team for me,
come right over.
This team
no
for
changes.
Me, no surprise.
Yeah,
I honestly, this and Rise, having Rise and Ghost right on kind of the top 8 right there for me is like, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. It's just like, that's where I thought these teams would be. That's exactly where they are. Simple as that.
And then to round it out, you have Rockets, which is basically Nelson, Twiz, and company. And finally, the 10th team is going to be Nogafan. So actually, what I thought was the most interesting when I looked at the pro points, which really stood out to me, is like if you picked, let's say you picked your #1 like kind of jetpacker that you thought, you know, maybe wasn't going to succeed on boots.
Naga.
I think Naga would be the one that would jump people's mind. Yes, partially because we joke about it.
Yeah.
But then if you pick the one guy from jetpacks that you think maybe would improve with boots, that's been the most talked about, it'd probably be Aches. And they're sitting at 10th is Nogafan and Company. Right behind them in the 11th spot trying to get in is Evil Geniuses. So I just think it's kind of a funny story. Like,
yeah. And what's crazy is that Rockets team in that 9th place spot was the team that eliminated EG. I don't know if it was last week or the week prior. I remember it was like
the first. I think that was the first.
It was like an S&D on USS Texas where like Nelson or TCM dropped a bunch of kills and like eliminated them, and now they're 2 spots behind them. That is an example, right, of literally, e.g., winning that round versus losing that round is the difference between them being in pools leading into this 2K versus now having to fight for a spot in it.
And that's what maybe some people don't realize at home. It's like that, if you did bad in the first 2K, it really screwed you. Because a top 32 in the second 2K isn't even as bad. Like, you look at a team like FaZe, they got knocked out by LG in a game 5 to get top 32, I think it was. So it's just not the same. Like, if you did bad in the first one, it really hurt you. I'm curious, though, from you real quick, who is the most impressive team for you currently sitting in the top 10? Like, is it TK because they're all the way up to 3rd? Or is it someone like Rockets, who I don't think anyone expected to be sitting there?
I think Rockets is my surprise team. You know, I joke with Nagafin a lot, but him being right on that bubble in that 10th spot, it's not far-fetched at all, even when you think about, you know, everyone talks so highly of BL Fire, especially at the start of games, and how good he is in his role. This is where you think he'd excel back in boots.
Even like Sinful, like what, they got 3rd at the first IW event, right?
Yeah.
Allegiance, so
he had a good start too. Yeah. And they're building for a strong beginning. Can they keep it going on that Nagafin and Co team? But I think for me, yes, it has to be TK. I mean, Kenny, it just seems like out of left field. And it's not that it was, you know, one good weekend. You know, it's not like they won a 2K and they gained all these points and now they've just been average. I mean, they have 2, top 4s in these 2Ks. They're sitting in a great spot.
And that's what, I mean, a lot of people might say, like, oh, hey, it's only been online so far. And, like, do I agree, online you might have the occasional fluke result, maybe, but if you're consistently placing well and doing well in scrims, like, I fully expect them to show up and land and do well. Do I think they're going to be top 3? Maybe not. Maybe not. But I think they're going to be certainly a team to be reckoned with.
People talk about online. I'll tell you right now, I think the finals of Dallas will be Optic versus LG. And that's 1-2 in North America.
The only other team I think I would throw in there would probably be NB. I think they have the ability to do it. They had a slow start, and I think I'm not surprised with that young team and just coming together, not last minute, but coming together at the end of last title. That'd be the only team. But would you be shocked if it was Optic LG whatsoever?
No, not at all. Not at all. So, I mean, that's just where that is. Other teams now, you know, right on that bubble. The big one for me right now, not in, that's close to being on the bubble, is, you know, E United, and we'll go through some of the big name teams. E United currently in the list we have, the unofficial list we have, sitting in that 13th spot. They've had some rough matches too. I mean, they had a heartbreaking series loss. Was it last week where they threw that hard point, like the 2 hard points? They had a lead in and threw them away, and then lost both S&Ds in the game 3, and that was like, or sorry, and won the S&D in the game 3 and then lost in game 5. I mean, it was just rough for United. I mean, they threw away 2 hard points that they absolutely should have won.
Yeah, I think...
And that's how they got eliminated.
Well, E United at least eliminated last week. That was the 5-game series with LG. And that's the one where the big thing was, yeah, they had the 4-0 lead in the game 5 search. They're up 4. I'm watching Slack stream. Slack and LG are tilting off the face of the earth. Slack's yelling at John for pushing, I think it was USSS, and he's yelling at him for pushing low, and then they won one round, and then all of a sudden it's like, it goes from LG getting 6-0 to basically you hear E United start to crumble, you see them start to crumble. So, yeah, that was tough. You think if you're up 4-0 in a game 5, you're going to close it out. And if they close that out, E United's in very good position. They're basically like Envy, right? Yeah. They jump from top 32 into 4th almost if they get a strong finish like that.
They're getting flashbacks to how champs ended for them.
You're right. So the teams that, really stand out to me, E United, I think just on brand alone, FaZe, obviously, you 100%. Have to have in there.
I mean, they have 4,400 total pro points from what I'm seeing on this list. I mean, that's abysmal for a team like FaZe. All the worries that FaZe fans have had have now come true. I mean, this team not only needs a fantastic week, but they need, like, to win.
Yeah, because what is this? Like 2,000 for first, 1,600 per second, 1,200 for third. I had the full breakdowns looking at earlier, but
I mean, they need a top. They need, I think, they need top 2, 4. Maybe top 4.
Yeah, I would say probably top.
They could probably get away with a top 4 and getting a little bit of help from other teams in regards to who wins and who.
And we're not talking about exact stuff. We're just kind of spitballing, just because I don't even know what the matchups are going to be exactly. So they may have to play Optic round of 32 for all I know. And that is, well, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, simple as that. We touched on a lot of teams here. There was a lot of information. I think we're at a good point now. We touched on kind of the big teams. What it simply comes down to is, you know, we'll see how it all plays out. I want to know from you guys right now. We're at the end of the video here. Thank you so much for watching. It's a little bit of a different show. I'd love if you could share this, everybody. Be sure to leave a like. Comment down below if you guys would like an updated video tomorrow when we know, you know, our top 8 teams going into the quarterfinals that'll be played on Monday evening.
I think we want to do a video every day, so I think, yeah, tomorrow probably makes sense to do a preview of the top 8, and then we'll be able to later this week talk about kind of polls heading into Dallas, which we have more information. But
remember, Rostermania Reactions, now the Maven and Jack show. Don't miss out on it. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Why'd I do that? Stop.